Hi, guys, and welcome to another live stream by Your Friend in Reykjavik. My name is Valur. I'm a tour operator in Iceland, and we do all kinds of walking tours and experiences in and out of Reykjavik, food tours and beer tours and folklore and a new catwalk and city walks and more. And we're adding a couple in the next couple of months. Uh, we've been doing these live streams for well, basically since last, like basically 1.5 years ago, something like that. And all kinds of topics. And today we're going to talk about the Icelandic horse and the love that Miss Lisa, which I'm going to say hi to now. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So welcome, and what drew you to Iceland of all places to do horseback riding?
Iceland, of all places, is kind of how I thought when I was first coming. I had a friend give me a call and say, "Could you give me horseback riding lessons?" And I had kind of retired from that, and she talked me into it because she was going to Iceland. And I thought, what in the world? Why would anybody go to Iceland to ride horses? So I started giving her lessons, and she started showing me pictures. And the next thing I knew, I was signed up, and I went and I told a few friends, and they came. And then I thought I'll just go one more time the next year. And Iceland's addictive, and it just pulls you back. And so now it's been, the first time was 2011. And I can even say I've come more than once in a year. So I'm now up to 15 times in the last 10 years,
Okay.
and have two more tours booked for this 2022. And now I have a whole group of people. I have a Facebook group, bucket list, Saltvík Riding Iceland, and people go there and learn a little bit about the Icelandic horses and the trips, and they sign up. And last year we had 60 travelers come along, not all at the same time, spread out over the season.
Okay.
So
So basically, and so a friend of yours, she wanted to go to Iceland to ride horses there, and she asked you for lessons, and that was the catalyst. You kind of like decided to do the same with join her.
yes, yeah. And honestly, I thought she was nuts when she said it. I was like, why in the world? But as soon as I stepped off that plane and breathed that fresh air and saw the greenery, I was hooked.
Yeah.
And then you get those horses; they are like no other horses.
And what's so
So
special? What's so special about the Icelandic horse? You obviously, if a friend of yours asked you to train her, you must have been, you must have some experiences with horses. So what was your early experience? What uh, were you riding before you went to Iceland? Of course.
well, a little bit of history about my horse experience. I was that little girl that sat on the fence and loved horses. And as soon as I got old enough, I was taking lessons. And in my early 20s, I owned a big boarding and training facility, and I have had horses and given lessons most of my adult life. Um, I've always had horses of my own. So it's been a passion of mine. It's been my career. Um,
You're located in Florida, isn't it? Hard to keep horses in the warmth of Florida. You're telling me that it was, what you said, 30 degrees Celsius, 85 Fahrenheit.
yes, in February, it's warmer than normal here. There are lots of horses here in Florida. The Icelandic breed is not the most popular down here, as you can understand. I do have one Icelandic horse here with me, and she does very well. I do a lot of shaving. We call it body clipping, and I feel like it's my full time career is shaving this horse. But
Yeah.
she does well. We keep fans on her. It's funny. I go out and I ride with these people on these great big like warm bloods and thoroughbreds, and I show up on, they always call her my pony, which they're not ponies, but I get there and they'll go, I hope you can keep up. And I go,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope you can keep up. And 5 minutes in the ride, they're going, can you slow down a little bit?
Okay.
So, these horses they're like little freight trains. They're
Mhm.
strong, they're powerful, they're almost spook free, they're
Mhm.
sturdy. They can easily carry a full grown man. Um, and they're amazing.
So what's the name of your horse? Sorry.
My horse here, her name is Luca.
Luca. Okay.
Luca, she came with that name, and she's funny. I'm not really a mare is a female horse. I'm not really a mare person, but she chose me. And
How did you choose you? Okay, you went on a couple of horse riding in Iceland, and eventually, okay, I'm going to buy a horse. What bring us to that conclusion? What brought you?
to that, that's a whole story in itself. I actually got a phone call from a lady who had one of the original Icelandic horse farms there in Tennessee, and she had fallen on some hard times, bad health, and she knew that I was doing Icelandic horse rides. And she asked me if I could take in a few of her horses to find homes for, sell for, and I brought 3 in, two geldings, 2 males and a female. And I thought, I definitely don't want this mare. And she was the smaller. And I went to sell them. And my husband kept saying, the mare's already sold. And I was like, well, who's buying this mare? And so we sold the two geldings. And at the end, he said, I bought the mare for you because she's chosen you. And I swear that horse would walk through fire for me. She is just so steady, and she'll take care of me. Sometimes she'll stop and won't go forward, and it makes me a little aggravated. And then when I stop and look, there's a reason why she wouldn't take me forward. And
Okay.
she was protecting me. And I've learned to have to trust her that she knows better than I do sometimes.
Okay. So your husband just decided to buy the mare behind your back, kind of,
He
because.
did, yes. And you don't hear that very often, so I guess I got a really good guy there.
Yeah, but what he saw that you and the horse took to you, but what brought you? Was there some kind of instance, or did you see something? Was there like something that happened, or just
Well, I had actually had an accident a few months before, and had a head injury and wasn't sure if I was going to be able to ride again. And that mare I think she knew I'd gotten hurt, and she stuck to me like glue and just took care of me. And I was getting on and riding her when I wouldn't ride anybody else at that time. And he was just like, this horse is meant for her. And I found out through that she is an amazing therapeutic horse, not just for myself, but for other riders. So she is just worth her weight in gold.
so she has a great temperament for that kind of work. And you were telling me earlier that uh, she's like you're using it for special needs therapy. How does that work? Are you teaching them to ride with, or how?
I teach therapeutic riding, special needs, and that can be anybody from a veteran from the war to someone who's in a wheelchair. Most of them are children somewhere on the autism spectrum. And they come in and they do riding. Some of them will never ride on their own. But I have had children get on, ride. We might play games, catch a ball, learning to steer, learning to stop. They instantly have a connection with the horse. It seems like the horse understands that this child maybe can't do certain things. And I have had children that were completely nonverbal. And even today, I had to rush here because I was teaching this morning. I have a child that was nonverbal 2 weeks ago, and she's telling me today, walk on for the horse and whoa. And she's telling me colors, blue and purple. And the parents are on the side outside of the arena just crying their eyes out. And there's a famous saying, there's something about the outside of the horse that's good for the inside of a person. And they just, It's like they almost have magic
Yeah,
that comes from them.
sounds like that. Basically by being in proximity of the horse and learning how to ride and stuff, that brings them out of their shell.
It does. And it gives them a sense of power. And some of these kids that are in wheelchairs, it becomes their legs. They're dependent on somebody to do everything. And all of a sudden they have control so they can move. So it does a lot of different therapy. But these Icelandic horses, because there's no predators in Iceland. You don't have bears and coyotes. So they're not spooky and reactive like our horses here are. I mean, they see a trash bag and they spook, but the Icelandic horses are very sensible and calm. They're very sturdy and sure-footed. They go over terrain in Iceland that our horses could never do. So, you get on and they're just rock solid. And, like I was telling you, my mare can see something that maybe isn't safe before I do. And she's protecting. So you get all of that sense, when you're riding, and that breed is just so special that way. They're not flighty. They're not reactive. They're stronger than the average horse. So they may be a little shorter,
Yeah,
but they are bigger in so many ways.
Does Luca have the fourth and fifth gates? That's one of the special.
Luca is 5-gated. Not all Icelandic horses are 5-gated. And gaits, the typical horse has a walk, a trot, and a canter. And the Icelandic horse definitely has those. Icelandic horses always have a tolt, which would be their fourth gear or gait.
Can you explain to the people what's a tolt?
A tolt is a 4-beat gait, which is equal to a walk. So when you ride your horse at a walk, you'll feel each foot hits the ground by itself. When you trot, they kind of diagonally, like the left hind to the right front, and you get a bounce that way. But when you tolt, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and they can tolt as fast as a thoroughbred can canter or gallop. And you just get this, you sit back, and in Iceland, they do a lot of like beer competitions where you're sipping a beer and flying along as fast as your thoroughbred would be galloping, and they see how much beer is left, and it's usually full.
Yeah.
So
it's a very smooth gait. You can actually hold like a bottle of beer and it's just smooth. You're just
it's very smooth. A lot of people here in the U.S. are doing gaited horses, and now the Icelandic horse is becoming more popular because maybe you've got a bad back or you've had an injury or something, so you need a smoother gait, and the Icelandic horse can offer that to you.
Perfect. And so, what's the fifth one?
The fifth one we call the flying pace. And I have not done the flying pace just because I don't really want to go quite that fast. It's an extremely fast.
It's like basically a sprint.
It is a sprint, and I know you do it there in Iceland. They have competitions to see who can go the fastest, and it's usually on a straightaway because I don't believe you'd want to be going that fast making a turn. But it's quite impressive. It has been demonstrated for me, and I thought, good for you. I don't want to go quite that fast. But
exactly. So, Riding Iceland. So that was the farm that you went to, and they are based in the north of Iceland from a farm called Saltvík, right?
Yes, Riding Iceland. I highly recommend this company if you want to do a horseback riding tour or even an hour-long ride there. It is a family-owned and operated company, and they have their own personal horses. And to me, that speaks volumes. So they have, last count, was about 150 of their own horses. And I don't know how they tell them apart, but he can tell you every horse's name, when it was born, and every detail about the horse. But 150 horses they use on tours from, like I said, the hour-long You can be a completely non-rider, and they'll take you out for an hour along the black sand beaches up there in Husavik, to very advanced tours that you might go several hundred miles in a week's time, and everything in between. So you can be any level, and they have rides that are specially designed for the very beginner to the intermediate to the advanced. So you're not going to go and be bored, and they don't want you to be uncomfortable or scared or in danger. So they're very good at matching horses to riders and the tours to your skill.
You can also buy like a couple of days. You said they even did. They are sometimes going like the old paths between the north and the south of Iceland, like Sprengisandur and more.
Yes, I've ridden Sprengisandur. I believe it took us 8 days to do. And you go out, and when you ride some of those multi-day tours, it's really neat because you may have, say, 15 riders, and they'll split you up, and these riders are in the front for the morning and these are in the back, and then they open the gate and 80 loose horses come and travel with you. And that is such an experience. And they'll let you have some time in the front of the herd and some time in the back. And to be in the front, you feel the power of the herd, and you literally feel their breath on the back of your neck as you're traveling along. And in the back, it's gorgeous to see these loose horses following along. And I don't know why, but sometimes they'll even go into a single file line. Other times they're 5, 6 wide in their group. It's so amazing. And
How does like when you're having an 8-day ride, how long do you ride per day? Do you obviously it must change depending on the landscape, but what do you do for the rest of the day? You're riding, and then you camp out and have a picnic or
well, when
sing
you're
by the
doing
fire.
when you're doing the multi-day rides, those are a little bit more on the advanced rider level. You would ride, and you might ride 5, 6 hours a day with breaks. Of course, you have a lunch break, and they stop every so often, and you hop off for 10 minutes. You'll have a horse in the morning after lunch. They give you a fresh horse that they pull from the herd, so the herd has a reason to be there. And honestly, a lot of people will go, I don't know if I can ride for 6 hours. At the end of 6 hours, and they'll say, like, okay, we're here at our next location. Either it's a guest house or a remote hut. I'm always like, but we just got on. It seems to go by so quickly because it's so exhilarating to be with the herd and the landscapes. I have to remind myself, look at where you are. We're out there. You may not see another human being your entire trip out there. You're just with the horses in your group, and there's mountains and waterfalls and glaciers and canyons, and
such a perfect way to travel, like doing it pretty quickly, but still slowly enough to enjoy and embrace the environment.
yes. I mean, you're literally filling your water bottle out of the stream, and it's the purest, cleanest water, and the air is so clean. And the troubles of our life, wherever country you live in, we all have stuff that goes on. It's just gone. You just forget that there's anything else happening in the world. And I think that's, other than the horses, of course, I'm very passionate about the horses, but I think there's just something about that. Like, it ought to be prescribed to everybody. You've got stress, you need to go to Iceland and be far away from everyone, and it just lifts it from you.
Sounds good, but isn't it, tell me the truth, day 2, after a day's worth of horseback riding, isn't it a little bit difficult to go back on the horse on day 2?
Are you talking about maybe being saddle sore? And
yes.
Well, most of the time, if you're riding these multi-day tours, you're probably a horse person. So you ride, and we do encourage them to continue riding and to stay physically fit. So we do kind of have a guideline of what's your physical fitness, what's your riding skills and ability, and we match you to a tour that's going to fit that. So if you're
So you work towards, it's like you're practicing for a marathon. You have to be in certain practice to be able to do it.
to be able to do that advanced ride. But like I said, they do have less strenuous rides. So maybe you're going for the hour long, just you're there for the day, or maybe you're doing, they have one called a Saltvik Comfort Tour, which is just that. You're staying in, they have some nice guest houses, which are similar to hotel rooms. And then you'll go out for maybe an hour or two each day, and then they take you on extra sightseeing. So that's more of your comfort ride.
Mhm.
So you're not going with a loose herd at a fast pace over long distances. And those tours are like 3 or 4 days long, and you can say, I'm tired today, I don't want to ride.
Mhm.
And they're still going to take you to a geothermal pool, or maybe offer whale watching, or there's up north there's some beautiful waterfalls, so they're taking you to some other places. So
Yeah,
just
yeah, and that's a lot of people that have been to the south, done the Golden Circle.
yes,
There's a beautiful route there in the north called the Diamond Circle, where you go from Dettifoss and Mývatn and all these beautiful
yes.
places. And that's of course and whale watching from Húsavík, and of course check out the sites from the Eurovision movie. So there's plenty of things to experience there in the north.
Absolutely. And with you mentioning the Diamond Circle, that is the name of their very most popular riding tour. And
Okay.
they do that. You actually ride through this, and you go, past Dettifoss, and you're riding your horse past these massive waterfalls. And you've got tourists that, if you go, you're probably going to be in somebody's photos. So if you ride through Dettifoss with a herd of horses, you've got people pulling out their cameras, and we're usually going, move out of the way. But it's just so much fun. And
How long is that for? If you're doing the riding part of the Diamond Circle, how long is
if you're
that?
doing the riding part of the Diamond Circle, I believe that's a 6-day riding tour. So
Okay.
they take you to all of these locations, and you're kind of riding, a loop, and you come back to Saltvik at the end. And so that's an amazing tour. And like I said, it is their most popular, and that one's even been named one of the best riding tours, like in the New York Times
Yeah,
here in the
I
US.
can
So,
imagine. It's there are so many beautiful places. Like my one of my favorite places in Iceland is called Ásbyrgi, of course, where
mhm.
the hoofprint of Sleipnir.
Yes, yes.
Beautiful, beautiful area, and so I can imagine just riding in that and this kind of environment. Must be
Yeah,
crazy.
one of my favorite things we did ride through where you were saying is the hoof print. A lot of times Bjarni Paul will stop and say, let me tell you the story of why we're riding through here. So it's not just we're riding through random places. There's paths for either there's tales of the mythical horse that stepped down, and that was his hoof print that made that canyon, to there may be we're riding a path that was where an outlaw came through, and they chased this outlaw, and he shows us this waterfall, and there's this song, and he may pull out a guitar and sing the song, which is a lullaby. It's a little kind of creepy. It's a lullaby that they sing to your children about how this outlaw threw her baby into the waterfall so that it wouldn't be captured.
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's a lot of culture that's shared on these tours. So you're not just riding horses and seeing beautiful country. You're learning about their culture. And another thing that I like to tell people is you arrive as a tourist, and within 5 minutes you feel like family. Bjarni Paul and his wife and his daughters run these tours, and you instantly feel like a family member. And I think that's a big reason why most of our riders return year after year after year.
Mhm.
So
So yeah, I can imagine. If it's in a beautiful setting, like you said, and with great horses. This must be a horse lover's heaven.
oh yes, yes.
But so you've been you obviously started off just going there and enjoying it, coming back, and now you're planning tours or trips with the horse lovers from the U.S., right? Or
From the US, I kind of stepped into, I'm not sure how I got in there, where I told a few friends and they told a few friends, and then people started calling me. So now I kind of, I don't know if you call me their agent or not, but the person who I kind of answer the questions. And I think the Americans, I call them a little needier group. They need to know every detail, like how many pair of socks do I pack and what's the airport going to be like. And so I can answer the questions to our American, possible travelers because I understand. I remember being my first time traveling, and it was my first time actually leaving the country when I went to Iceland. So it was intimidating for me. And I went as a single traveler, a woman going out of the country for the first time by herself. And I've got to tell you, Iceland, and I know you've mentioned this before, you get there and you just, there's almost no crime. And you see baby buggies parked in front of the restaurants, and that just amazes me. And there's sleeping babies in there while the parents are inside eating. And you would never see that in the US. So it's just so comforting. Like I said, you get there, you step off the plane, and all of your concerns are gone. So, absolutely, if you want to travel and do some of these tours or just go to Iceland, either with your friends, your family, but if you want to go as a single traveler, you're going to be safe. And the Icelandic people are very welcoming, and they're there. You can ask questions and they'll answer you and they'll help you. And that's something we don't always get in the US.
yeah, yeah. Obviously with 99% of the population speaking English, and generally we are always with that mindset tatarettast, and and one of the reasons I think one of the reasons why most Icelanders are very helpful is that we are so used to that you just needed to help each other to survive this country. So I think it's a part of our DNA, kind of in that element. But I want to end up. You just you bought a house or a farm or
I am trying to get myself a summer home
okay.
there, and there's some property there, and Riding Iceland is expanding their I guess their business. They've purchased some land in the northwest area there, a farm called Rain Holler, and just so he can run some tours from that area. Plus, it's nice to put your horses over in that area for the winter to graze. So I'm in the process of building a small summer home there, and so he's kind of helping me. He's my connection, and you know, being from the U.S. trying to build something and you don't know anybody, that's hard. So he's really helping me out, and I'm very excited to be able to call Iceland at least my summertime home. Mm-hmm. As long as Iceland will let me stay, they won't let you just show up and stay forever. But I'm trying. Iceland's definitely stolen my heart.
Thank you. But you were telling me earlier that there are more people or creatures or hidden people living there close by your possible summer house.
Yes, so? on the property there where Bjarni Paul has put some of his horses to graze for the winter there at Rain Holler. There is I would just consider it a large hill, and in the front of it is a beautiful lake. And the old farmer who was born on that property, and his father was there and his grandfather was there, who sold the land to Riding Iceland, was telling us that this is the Church of the Elves and this is the Lake of the Elves. And I thought, well, okay, what does that mean? And he told us a story about how many times as a child he would be out maybe picking blueberries out of the field to eat. And he would see a light in that hill. And then he would see people walking into the hill, and they would be there for hours and then maybe leave at night. And I just thought, okay, wow, it's a hill. There's no doors. There's no anything. So I got a little curious and started looking into elves and trolls, and because that's not something that Americans really talk about. And it's very interesting to hear the culture and the beliefs. And I've asked some of the people I meet in Iceland, do you believe in elves and trolls? And most of the time I don't get a direct answer. They don't say yes or no. But so yes, they do. But
there was a survey done a couple of years back that showed that 54% believe that, or don't dismiss the fact that hidden people or these creatures, they don't want to say no, they don't exist. They want to keep their options open, because there are so many of these family stories. There are so many, everybody, if they just talk and ask around their family, there's somebody or niece or grandma or granddad that has a story of dealing with elves or maybe ghosts or something. So it's rich in our culture. And I just want to mention, I just posted a short video with my talk with the headmaster of the Elves School of Iceland. So you can check that out if you're interested in learning more about the hidden people of Iceland, the Elves of Iceland. So go for that. Check that out on the Facebook and YouTube. But yeah, it's interesting that I like to have elves present close by. I like that that you have that in the vicinity of your summer home. And I believe that when you start living there, you'll come to find that they are there.
I found it very exciting to hear that. I love to hear the culture and the history of the land and the area. But that was pretty exciting to hear that there's an actual church of the elves and the lake of the elves. And, I'm kind of excited. Maybe I'll get a view. Yeah. Maybe I'll get some insight.
Hopefully. I'll next time we'll talk and you'll tell me more about the elves of what do you call it? Reinholar?
Rainholler, yes.
Rainholar, okay. Rainholar.
Yes.
So we have a couple of questions. Let's check with Zoom. Fix the Zoom. So okay. Carrie says, and Tolkien had an Icelandic nanny in the UK, which is true. I know that for the fact. Sorry, I'm just checking here with that. Yes, that's a fact. Tolkien, J.J.R. Tolkien, the writer of The Hobbit, and he had an Icelandic nanny that was babysitting his 4 children, and she was telling them stories about the hidden people and the folklore of Iceland, and Tolkien sitting in the corner and listening in. So we're talking about on our folklore tour. We talk about the connections that, some of the connections that Tolkien made with Icelandic folklore, which is fun. I think Francesca is asking, can you ride a horse? If you're asking me, yes, I can ride a horse, but I haven't. This is not something that was in my when I was being brought up in the Westman Islands. Not a lot of horses in the Westman Islands. So I've been on a horse a couple of times. Not felt very comfortable, but it's on my list to do more. Let's check. Ashley says, I've only been to Iceland alone and always felt very safe, of course. Carrie said the same. Travel solo to Iceland and always feel safe. Gail is saying, my husband is thinking of going with me on a comfort ride 23. So hopefully maybe you'll meet up. And Song is saying, I have hip arthritis. Do you think I could still ride without injury?
I think probably if you have some hip type things, you might want to look into the comfort ride. And, then they can have extra staff to help you if you need help getting on and off. And they'll have a specialized horse that would be good for them.
Christoph is asking a very relevant question. How's the jazz scenario in Iceland? There is a jazz scene. Couple of great jazz musicians. I'll have to send you a couple of links, but yeah, there we have some jazzists in Iceland, some great artists. So maybe I'll put some links in the comment field after. Yeah, so we're basically just a couple of highs from Solrun and Sharon and Alice and Pamela say it's a bucket list item for me, so to go and probably horse riding. So Lisa, thank you very much for an excellent chat. I'm definitely, hopefully, make it to Saltvík one day and maybe do a comfort ride to begin with. I think
Absolutely, yeah. And I just want to say, with all my riders that come in, I have now, because I just did your food tour this last time I was there. Definitely something everybody should do. But let me just say, you need to go hungry. You need to be very hungry, because this is not just a taste of food. You are getting like 4 or 5 different meals when you're there. It's amazing, and lots of culture added into it. It's definitely a thumbs up.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, we try to make sure that people leave not full after it.
Very much so.
So tak. So yeah, have a great evening. I'm Hilda is making lamb for me, leg of lamb, which is like a Sunday dinner, very traditional Icelandic food. The lamb is from New Zealand this time, unfortunately, but beggars can't be choosers. So yeah, have a good evening, everybody, and takk fyrir, bless.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.